No you. I think it's alphabetical.
Great evening. Thank you all for coming here. I'm very excited to be here. I'm the Peacemaker Sheriff, Aldo. I'll explain that to you. I'm happy that we're in the Lord's house. I want to share with you first in my heart that Mr. Holcomb is just as much a child of God as I am. So I have respect for him in the flesh. But I want to talk to you very frankly about behaviors and about duties. And I want you to hear that coming from a position of love and respect to get us all to a more peaceful path, if you will. Before I do that, I want to make an announcement. Those two buses out there are here in support. Patriots is a movement. It's about taking back our country. This is not just a physical place, but it's an idea. It's a light for the planet, a light where you have inalienable rights that were given to us by our Creator to pursue life, liberty, and happiness, right? Nobody can take that away from you. But it seems like things are getting a little strange, and people want to see us change. That's what this is about. So beginning next week, those buses are going to appear in the parking lot of our courts after hours when the courts are closed. We have your permission, sir, to bring those buses there so we can assemble citizens to come share their stories in our courts with the public there in a lawful event. Is that okay with you?
Allow me to research the code, Virginia.
Mr. Mayor, do I have your consent to do that? To use the parking lot?
Usually the speaker would not address the people.
Okay. We are lawful, we're all about the law, but that's what's coming. So I want to read to you two posts that are on Facebook. There's a group on Facebook called Virginia Youth Politics. I've had these posts vetted. I think you need to hear some things. This was written by Beth Allen. She says, Norman Dewey Rocky Holcomb is a, quote, chess piece in the local political arena and has worn simultaneous hats while also a paid deputy sheriff. First as a state delegate who won in a special election but couldn't hold his seat and was defeated at the next regular election. He was later appointed in August 2021 to fill a vacancy as a city councilman for Kempsville, then mysteriously, quote, assigned to represent District 1 after the illegal elections in 2022. After an over 2-year stint as an unelected council member, Holcomb resigned on September 29, 2023, just in time to get sworn in as the new appointed sheriff. He was not elected. That was unlawful. This is local political corruption at its finest. He is a top law enforcement officer. Has he ever read the law or questioned his duplicity in all of this? Is he just blindly loyal to the party? The city charter even explicitly states that no council member can be appointed to any office for profit during the term for which elected or within 1 year thereafter. But then again, Mr. Holcomb was never elected to city council, and we are supposed to have faith in the integrity of the election system? We're supposed to have faith in these leaders? That's from Beth Allen. I want to read this one that came up the day before yesterday, and I have permission from Mr. Donald Edwards to share this with you. And again, this has been fact-checked. It was unconstitutional for him to remain deputy while in the House of Delegates. It was unlawful for him to be appointed to council while still a deputy. It was unlawful for him to establish a district voting system because he didn't have the power or authority to do so. It was unlawful for city council to petition the court for its writ of special election for the seat he vacated and not, at the same time, petition them for the seat he went into. Holcomb has habitually held dual offices, a violation of the laws of Virginia, and has spent the past year campaigning from an office he was neither elected to nor eligible for. This is a top lawman in Virginia Beach, and this is a problem. This is chaos. Again, not my words. Facebook, look it up. These are your citizens who are on the Virginia Beach Politics page who read the code and understand it. I want you to understand that. Peacemaker Sheriff brings peace back to our community by restoring the law and order of our grand jury rights. And by our Constitution and by the Supreme Court of the United States, our grand jury belongs to you, people. But our courts have taken control of it by Mr. Holcomb's authority, because he's the man with the gun in the courthouse who has constitutional authority. He's the man who can change that reality. What I'm doing in this Peacemaker Sheriff movement is going to spread across all 3,143 county or county equivalents in the United States. There is interest outside of Virginia Beach in what is happening here and now in Virginia Beach. And that's going to become more revealed as the weeks unfold. So, I'm the Peacemaker Sheriff. I'm here for you. You don't need to wait and see who I'm going to become when I get elected. Go to my website, peacemakersheriff.org, read about my background, learn that I grew up in the area, what I've accomplished and achieved. From there's a link to a page called courtpublicawakening.org. Go there, read some of the things I've filed. In my hand is a federal filing sitting at the 4th Circuit Court of Appeals related to some of the details I just described to you and the unlawfulness of what's going on. So we need to restore law, rule of law, to rebuild America as the beacon of light where we can all pursue life, liberty, and happiness. It's important. Again, not a grievance against the person, but a grievance against the behaviors and a grievance against the fact of a failure of duty. A sheriff is the highest officer in each county. They take an oath to uphold the Constitution. The Constitution protects your rights. In front of me, I have a whole handbook of rules that are unlawful about our grand jury being taken away and manipulated. That's going to stop when I'm elected. And that's going to start to happen in other counties and other places. It started in Virginia Beach with some national interest. You're going to see it start unfolding. Thank you for your time.
Okay. Thank you. Next we have Sheriff Rocky Holcomb.
Thank you. Thank you. After what I just heard, I feel like I should be under arrest right now, but let me clear the air and let me have full confession here. I have only ever let one criminal go in my life. In my 33 years as a law enforcement officer, I let one criminal go free. And she's in this court, and she's in this church right now, and that's my wife, Tracy. She stole my heart when I was 14 years old and never gave him out. Guilty. So again, my name is Rocky Holcomb, and I am the duly appointed sheriff of the city of Virginia Beach, and I'm honored to stand here before you. The last time that I had conversation with Aragona, we had some trouble getting some law enforcement officers out for the parade, so I'm glad we could provide some crime fighters to come out here and provide the service needed to get the parade off the ground.
You took care of us.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. So it is awesome to be here, and let me just say that I've served in the sheriff's office for 33 years, living behind this badge, protecting the rights and freedoms of all citizens of Virginia Beach. And in my 33 years in the sheriff's office, I've held every rank and I've supervised every division in your sheriff's office. And I'm going to tell you what, I'm damn proud to be a deputy sheriff, and I'm proud to be your sheriff here in Virginia Beach. So along the way, being a deputy sheriff, I've had some other good things happen. I was a United States Marine before I came to the sheriff's office. Simplified to my Marines out there. It wasn't my first choice, but when I flunked out of college, when I came home, my dad said, Rocky, he said, you've got 5 choices. And I said, Dad, give them to me. And he said, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, and Coast Guard. So I landed in the Marine Corps. Also along the way on my journey, I served in the Virginia General Assembly in the House of Delegates representing the 85th District, which I represented many of you folks in here. And being elected to that position, I was the first ever full-time law enforcement officer elected to that position. And you're daggone right, I was proud to do it. And I would do it again if I had a chance to be an elected official. And I did have a chance to be an elected official. I was called upon to represent a vacant spot on City Council. And I served on Virginia Beach City Council representing District 1, where I won a special election with 56% of the vote in District 1. And I was proud to serve on City Council. And when this opportunity came before me to be the sheriff, I got appointed as the sheriff because our sheriff at the time, Sheriff Ken Stolley, had some health issues. And if anybody here knows Ken Stolley, he's a hell of a fighter. And I'll give up to Ken Stolley. So he stepped down, and special election scheduled for November 5th. So all of this unlawfulness that we talk about, I'm asking you folks to let's make it lawful November 5th and vote for Rocky Holcomb for your sheriff. I promise I'll do a good job. So let me talk about some things that we're doing at the sheriff's office since I've been sworn in. The very first thing I did when I got sworn in is I created the Road to Hope. And the Road to Hope gives inmates a chance because we understand that 90% of these offenders are going to get released and come back to our communities. They're going to live in Aragona, Kempsville, the ocean front. So we know as they come back, we've got to give them some soft landing when they land here. In fact, just 3 weeks ago, we had a concert in our jail where we allowed inmates to come out and display their talent and sing and be able to put that on display. We have a program where you see inmates out on the road cutting grass. So those folks go out there and cut grass, and if they stay on that program for 16 weeks, they earn a certificate that entitles them to be an entry-level landscape service person. I've heard that those jobs can land $18 to $25 an hour. So we're setting them up for success when they get back out and making sure that they can be good, hard-paying taxpayers when they get out. Another thing we do is our food service program, the first one in the region. We have the largest restaurant in the city of Virginia Beach. I tell folks we serve 3,300 meals every day in our jail. And so we let the inmates come in and prepare the meals, and after 16 weeks, they earn a certificate that allows them to be a certified food handler, so when they go in the community, they can get a job and make a difference. And those are some of the things we do. On our Road to Hope program, we have religious exits, we have educational exits, we have vocational exits, we have substance abuse exits, all on this Road to Hope. And we want to make sure that we fit the right inmate to the job that they need or the service they need. We understand that religious services are important, but it's not a one-size-fits-all. What I do with the other folks inside my jail that just need some help and understanding. I have folks that come in there that don't have the life skills that are necessary to get them back out on the street. So we educate, educate, educate. This past year, we put over 40 people through the GED program. 40 folks came to the jail and got a GED. And as they get educated, we all know that gives them a chance to land soft when they get out and get a job. So again, my name is Rocky Holcomb. I am doing the work of the citizens. I am honored and humbled to be your sheriff each and every day. And I ask you, please, vote for me November 5th to continue to be your sheriff here in the city of Virginia Beach. Thank you all, and God bless.
I need an extra minute.
Okay, those were our candidates for sheriff in November. And we're going a little bit out of alphabetical order because two of our candidates do have to be at another meeting after this. So next will be Kowalewich. Sorry about that. Close.
That's close to some of my professors got in college, I can tell you
I
that.
hear you.
So the ones that don't know me, I'm Richard R.K. Kowalewich. They call me R.K. because my last name is so hard to say. I owned R.K. Surf Shop at the oceanfront for over 31 years, hired hundreds and hundreds of employees. I became a political advocate 24 years ago because I didn't like what I was seeing. A little bit about me, Surf Shop. My family's been in the construction business for over 70 years. I recently just did an addition at Abbey Road Restaurant. Some of you might know that. I added a second floor to it, and it really came out nice. You ought to come by and see it. It's really special, and it was done by no help from the city. He did it out of his own pocket. Can you imagine that? I'm here to talk about a couple of things that are sort of important, and I'm going to get into something that's real important. Because I've been asked to talk about a couple of things. Single family rezoning. I'm totally opposed to this, guys, 100%. I'll give you an incident. I have a project that I was working on, had 40 units in it. And the people came up to me and said, RK, do you think you're interested in doing this? I said, what do you got? I said, this is what's going on. In other words, they couldn't put the money into the units because the units would be underwater even further than they were. So I told them, I said, I'm all over this, guys, but one thing's got to happen for me to be involved. You have to have 100% from everybody in that unit. They bought into that unit for a reason. I'm not going to take anybody's rights from them. I believe in the rights of people. The first time I ran for office, I put signs all over the city, said, for the people's way, vote RK. Because of these bad public-private partnerships that are occurring, that should not be occurring. Then down the road, my next election, I put stop corruption. You know what I did? I went out and did something about it, but several people no longer elected because of it. And I'm proud of that because they were breaking the law and it shouldn't be happening. It should be stopped. And I did something about it. Then I put a sign out that said law and order. Put it all over the city. Law and order. Put my name to it. You know what I did about it? I learned that we were short 100 police officers at the time. For the last 20 years, we've been short 70 to 100 police officers every single year. If you see my sign, you see a little blue line going across the flag there. There's a reason for that. Let me say something to you. This city needs another 200 police officers. So we need to have 1,000 police officers in this town. If elected, I'm going to go after that and make sure our police officers are taken care of. They're the backbone of society. They keep us safe. They keep us quality living. This must happen. That's by national standards, by the way. The aquarium. The aquarium. Guys, we must keep our aquarium. It belongs to the people. We've paid for it. We shouldn't be selling it to another private developer. I heard something recently on Saturday. They talked about the dome site. As a developer, or as anybody, think about this for 1 second. I'm going to give you a price for $60 million, and then the price keeps going up to $160 million. Who in the world would do that? And that's what we're doing. That project will never bring a nickel in to this city and will take away from existing businesses that are privately funded. This has been a trend in the city for way too long. It was one of the main reasons I ran for office. And it needs to stop. Cheat sheet. Number one reason I'm running. I don't need a cheat sheet for this. This is the charter. This is the charter of Virginia Beach. This is the Constitution of Virginia Beach. All councilmen, and the mayor is a councilman. The mayor has no more power than any other councilman. It's one and the same. Most people do not know this. This document, the charter, takes precedent over general law. If there's a conflict in law from a general law in the state to this Constitution, this law prevails. That's in the code section everywhere. Right now, we are not following our charter. I'm going to read you one little point on this charter that you need to know. By the way, I filed for a writ of mandamus. You might have seen it on the TV, you might have seen it on the paper. And what that means is I've asked the court, the Supreme Court of Virginia, to make sure that the city follows the charter. I didn't sue anybody. I just want the city to follow its charter. More so, the voter registrar's office. I have to read this to you. This is in the charter. 2 Attorney General opinions on this issue already been issued in the last 4 months that on point and agree with what I'm saying. Here it is. In the event any councilman, comma, including the mayor, comma, shall decide during his term of office to be a candidate for mayor, comma, he shall tender his resignation as a councilman not less than 10 days prior to the date of filing petitions, which was June 18th this year. It should have been done on the 8th, as required by general law. This is an absolute thing. And there's 2 people in my race that didn't do that. That's why we're in the court with this. This has got to stop. And there's so many issues in this charter that are not being followed. It's scary. If this doesn't exist, there is no city. No charter, no city, and that's a fact. And how is it that my wife says, Rick, why is it always you that has to point it out? I said, honey, I'm just lucky that way. Here's the truth. If you want somebody that's transparent, tell you what's going on, put the mic in my hand, see if they can take it out. If you want somebody with tenacity, come to me. I'm a fighter. If you want somebody with truth and trust, come to me. You can ask anybody. That's a fact of life. If you want to change, I'm running against 4 incumbents right now. 4 incumbents against me, and I'm the one that's been fighting for the citizens year after year for the last 20 years for the right reasons. Just check out my record. You want a difference? Vote RK. As I said the first time I ran, for the people's way, vote RK. Thank you. I had to go. I got another event to go to, but thank you guys very much. Hang around for a little bit longer. Thank you.
Thank you, RK. And next we will have Councilman Chris Taylor.
Good evening. As tall as this goes tonight. Good evening, everyone. My name is Chris Taylor.
You need to raise
Born
that
and
up for you.
raised here in Virginia Beach. This is kind of full circle because my family's been in this area for over 200 years. My mother's side was native, and my great-great-grandmother was the first Indian, native, or black person to work at the Francis Land House in 1912 when it was a residence. And before they had rights, all they could do was work as servants or help around the house. And before my great-grandmother retired, she worked for John Aragona in his home, and that was the reason my mom and her sisters were able to integrate King's Grant in 1966. I say all that to say I'm a local, I'm a native, I'm married to Kimberly Gregory Taylor. We have 3 children, Caleb, Christian, and Charlotte, 7, 5, and 15 months old. They attend public schools. I'm a product of Virginia Beach Public Schools, King's Grant, Lynn Haven Middle School, First Colonial High School, Go Patriots. And then I attended Virginia Wesleyan University and played basketball as well as studied business. After college, I stayed here. You hear that often. We have to get people to individuals to stay in the city. I came back to the city and worked in the multifamily business. All of the things I'm going to share with you tonight are issues we're dealing with. By the age of 24, I was managing 70 employees and about $300 million worth of apartment homes. So when we talk about affordable housing, attainable housing, senior housing, low-income tax credit housing, that was my career until my great-grandmother came to me and said, "You're making $42,000 a year to earn all these businesses money. It's not a glass ceiling, it's a concrete ceiling. And the dangers of concrete ceiling is when you start jackhammering it, the concrete falls on your head." And so as a result, I left that business. I was recruited by DuPont Corporation. I worked for 28 months for a Fortune 100 company. Why is that important out of all the candidates? I'm the only one with Fortune 100, 200, 300, 400, or 500 experience. I got to travel the world. I got to gain business acumen, learn budgets, learn P&Ls. DuPont was a 70,000 employee, $29 billion a year company. So when you look at Virginia Beach and you hear $2.6 billion, that was one of DuPont's smallest businesses. We don't have an income problem here, we have a spending problem in our city. We have a problem of not prioritizing. When you look at attainable housing, which is what you all want to learn about tonight, don't listen to our words tonight, go look at our votes. I was the first candidate and the first council member to hold a housing summit in our city. I was the first candidate and the only council member in our city to have a senior summit where we brought seniors into the public library to learn about the resources. Thalia LLC just passed last week. 8 apartment homes butting the road across from Gus and George's on Virginia Beach Boulevard, 8-lane highway, and myself and Barbara Henley are the only ones that listened to the community and said this is not a good idea to have 3,200 square feet of retail next to a chiropractor's office in between a residence and a church on an 8-lane highway, and then the lawyer told us that it was going to be pedestrian friendly, not for my kids. Out of the housing summit, we had the first application for workforce housing from Franklin Johnson. As a result, they were there. Because I managed senior living and residential apartments, I realized it wasn't the application that was so bad, it was the fact that there was no parking. There wasn't enough parking. And so as I voted against the ordinance to increase fees on parking in towing, I was one of 2 council members that voted against increasing by 35%, that if you get towed, those rates go up. So we're building apartment communities that don't have enough parking going in. The applicant didn't know it was in a zone they couldn't build in. 300 people came out, your voices, and the council ignored it. My dad was born in SeaTac. We had a mayor's forum in SeaTac. Some of the council members you hear tonight that are here tonight and candidates are going to tell you how much they care, how much they've done for the community. It wasn't until that forum where I stood in front of an audience just like this and told them that the reason they didn't have a park is because their council member didn't make it a priority, didn't get the money, and I told them where the money was. Well, guess what we voted on 2 weeks ago to move forward? An ordinance to move $3 million to build this park at SeaTac. That didn't come out of an election cycle. That came because, unfortunately, at that meeting, I told them, if you want your park, your council members sitting right here in the crowd, go ahead and tell them what you want. My priorities will be the community, to listen to your voice when you speak, to engage you so that if you don't know what's going on, you're informed, and that's called transparency, and to have integrity. Right now we have leadership that tells you one thing, does the other thing. We have leadership that doesn't have the authority to veto, but if they get a call from special interests, voila, the item comes off the agenda. People going forward need to be able to look at the city of Virginia Beach and have trust and confidence that your mayor, your ceremonial leader, is going to do what they say they're going to do, your voice is going to be the priority, and our community will move forward so that my children, your children, and grandchildren have a great place to live and they can actually afford to live here. Because right now, it's not looking good. It's not because of the Mayor Dyer, it's not because of City Council, it's because of years of bad policy and a lack of priority and ignoring your voice. Vote Chris Taylor 2024. God bless you.
another tall guy. Hey,
And
good to-
welcome Mayor Bobby Dyer.
All right. Thank you all. We ready to start?
Go ahead.
Hey, good.
You're
I
on.
just want to say thank you and welcome to everybody. You know, you take a look at the world today, take a look at the rest of the country. You know, things are on fire and things are chaotic. But guess what? In Virginia Beach, we got a little bit of an oasis here when we think about it. You know, when we think about the fact that there are so many positive things that we have in our community. U.S. News and World Report named us number 8 in the country for best place to live. Last year's Old Dominion Quality of Life Survey, 85% of the people that took it said that Virginia Beach is favorable or highly favorable. But let me tell you something, it's not the mayor, it's not the council, it's the people. It's the folks that live here, work here, have their businesses here. And Virginia Beach actually has 11,000 people that volunteer here. You know, we're a great community. And we are a community of faith and togetherness. Over the last 6 years, we have been on a journey together where there was tragedy and a lot of hard times. You know, we faced COVID together, and we came through. And I always ask, name a city that made it through COVID better than we did. It was the people that came together, the glue that came together to get us through those hard times. And you know, to say, we got a lot to be proud of. And you know, the thing is, we are, among those kudos, we're the safest city in the country. Our police. You know, back in the day when there was civil unrest and people were saying, defund the police, and they were saying, reimagine the police. And I said, not only no, but hell no. We got together, we got behind our police, and we put people on a grid program. And then it helped with recruitment and retention. And I'm proud of the fact that, yes, the police did give me their endorsement, and I cherish that because we work it very, very well together. We have police, our sheriffs, our fire, our EMS, and let's not forget the 911 people. But once again, we got so many good things. In Virginia Beach, we have something many cities don't have, and that is the quality of life. And that has been, you know, the focus of our council, you know, for a while now. People enjoy living here. And I'll tell you what, I just met the Commandant of the Marine Corps the other day. You know, I'm a jarhead from New Jersey, what can I tell you? And you know, the 4-star admiral told him that people enjoy living in Virginia Beach. It's the #1 request of the Navy that people want to come to Virginia Beach as a duty station because of the quality of life that we have here. But guess what? We got challenges, don't we? You know, we have housing problems. But guess what? This is not unique to Virginia Beach, is it? It's a national crisis going on. As a matter of fact, at a council retreat, we said that housing, attainable housing, was our 4th highest priority. And then me being involved with the military advocacy group, when I went up to the Pentagon, every undersecretary or assistant secretary of defense said, housing is a critical issue to all the people that serve in the armed forces. So it is a priority, housing. But how do we balance that in the neighborhoods? How do we balance that when we know we're running out of developable land? Well, we got to show some innovation. But once again, it's a type of thing, and I'm working with Rick Broyles to make sure that communities are really part of it. Now, I was a district councilman in Centerville for 14 years. Never had an application fail. Why? The good neighbor policy. You get the attorneys, you get the developers, you get the architects with the communities over and over, and you find out what's going to work, what's not, get suggestions, things of that nature. And guess what? It worked. And I'm proud to say that I went through 3 election cycles without opposition because of community engagement. It really comes down to the community. So once again, as we confront the thing, and it's right, we have to get public more involved. We are 60 years old now. We are aging in terms of infrastructure, and quite frankly, people, some of our ages, okay? And we have to confront that. You know, our stormwater referendum, $576 million, with inflation over $1 million. And $1 billion, I'm sorry. But right now, I just want to say, you know, I am a veteran. I know how to work with people. I learned leadership as a Marine, became a corporal, and then also my ability to work with people as a home care physical therapist for 45 years. Working in every neighborhood here, I understand the problems. I know what you're going through. So please, I ask you to help. Said Bobby D, let's keep the drive going in Virginia Beach. Let's take a city, a great city, and take it to the next level and bring our prosperity to everyone in this great city. Thank you all, and God bless you for listening to me. We got another call guy here.
There, Mr. Mayor.
And next we have John Walsh.
Well, I feel like I'm at home when I'm here. How many times I've been in this room. Going back to 1986. How many people remember what was going on in the city before 1986? All the rezonings that were taking place. All those farms, the Mennonite farms, all that high-density housing. And what happened? We had a team for responsible leadership that ran it. We changed all that. The rec centers that you have, for the most part, were approved in a referendum. So were the roads, so were the schools, so was Lake Gaston. We went to the people and asked for referendums, and the only referendum that has passed since then was the storm water bond referendum, which I think all of you would agree, not only did I construct, but I championed. And I kept the promises. But there was a promise made in that referendum by all the council members, including the mayor, that we would adopt 75 words into the comp plan that would require the staff to recommend denial of any project that undermines that bond referendum projects. And he's voted against it 3 times. It's never passed. He didn't keep his word, and we said we would adopt it within 3 weeks. Now, when people talk about qualifications, I think I worked maybe for the #1 corporation in the country, the United States Navy, and I managed $22 billion every day for 20 years. And when I left, the Secretary of the Navy awarded me the highest award that you can achieve as a civilian, the Distinguished Civilian Service Award for my service to the Submarine Force. So when you talk about management, but no one on this council but myself has ever presented and developed an alternative budget from scratch that met core services, that reduced taxes and provided tax relief to residents. Did they get voted on? Got voted down, but did I develop them? Yes, I did. And thanks to Mrs. Henley, who seconded it, I was able to actually get a vote, which is unusual, because usually they all stay quiet. So you can't get a second. I know Chris understands that. And then you can't, so what? They snuff out opposition. Now I hear about this, listen to the neighborhoods. Well, the people in Windsong Apartments in Chicks Beach, 16 civic leagues and HOAs spoke for how many hours? This community listening, and what happened? They might as well have stayed home, because in the end, they jammed in on Pleasure House Road, A36 apartments. Just drive down and look at that. That's an example of community listening that the mayor told those people, this is something we have to learn to accept. Infill development. You can go look at it and say, would you want that? No. You ask about eliminating residential zonings? I don't support that. I also don't support residential overlay districts, which is they don't change your zoning, but people can come down for a conditional use permit, get permission, and then build a duplex or a quadplex. You don't want either of those. And I also want to talk about, remember short-term rentals, what a big issue that was? Everybody's neighborhood was going to become a hotel district. So what did we come up with? We did come up with an overlay district, but you have to get 75% of the landowners to sign an affidavit saying they want their neighborhood to be rezoned. I think that was a good compromise. It was a lot of hard work. It wasn't easy getting the votes to get that passed. I took a lot of heat from that. I'll never get the Board of Realtors endorsement, but nonetheless, I think we came to the right conclusion on short-term rentals. The Green Line, people talk about the accomplishment. The Green Line was really preserved in 1986. I know Martha knows that well. And then, of course, it was moved when Barbara Henley came off council. They pushed it to Indian River Road. But we have 3 policies that say preserve the Green Line. But what did council do after 2 hours and 45 minutes of people talking about preserving the Green Line? They voted for silo at Southern Pines, south of the Green Line. I think it's like 64 units to the acre. That's what the mayor delivered. That's what the vice mayor delivered. That's what all the Barbara Henley and Mr. Taylor delivered. Because why? Because that's what developers wanted. And what you want is a mayor who has a history of being independent. No one ever accused me of being in the back pocket of developers. Or seeking out their money. But we've made some bad deals. Some really bad deals. $153 million of public debt on Atlantic Park for $157 million of private investment. That is not a good deal. That the city manager himself has said the earliest it will deliver a nickel, the first dollar to the general fund, is 2032. Now, I don't think any of us have to be Warren Buffett to know what a bad deal that is. But all the members except myself, I had to abstain, all voted for that. The members who were on council at the time. We can't afford this. They talk about how prosperous we are. Ask yourself how prosperous you are. We can deliver a leaner, higher value government and deliver you tax relief just like the governor, because we've experienced the same economic prosperity at the city level, and we can give money back, we can lower the rate, and we can deliver better value services. I request your vote starting on September 20th through November 5th. John Moss, your voice, your vote, your advocate in the mayor's seat. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Next, we have Councilwoman Sabrina Wooten.
So you saved the best for last, I see.
There we go.
You guys still here? You still woke? All right, good. So it's that time of the year, my friends, where you see wonderful clusters of campaign signs on every corner you turn, and you hear about nasty political ads on the air and the television. But you know what? It's also the time of the year for you to select and vote for new leadership. My name is Sabrina Wooten, candidate for mayor, and I would like to earn your vote to be the next mayor of your city, the great city of Virginia Beach. And so when I think about becoming a council member, the last 6 years, I have championed our local businesses. I have addressed issues to ensure that we had an independent citizens review board. I've also had an opportunity to lead on important issues like homelessness and other issues that really are important to our city. And so the last 6 years, I've certainly been productive leading on many issues, addressing flooding, which is very important. And so when I kicked off my campaign for mayor in December, I had an opportunity to make sure that I focused on the priorities of the citizens, of the residents. And how did I do that? Well, I traveled from city to city, and I traveled all over the community hosting forums, not paid by taxpayer dollars, not hosted in city-owned buildings. These were forums to address the priorities of the people and to learn more from the people, your priorities. Some of those priorities that the citizens told me were, number one, affordability. And so affordability is important because we have to have tax relief for our seniors. We have to come up with affordability and programs for our young adults. We have to ensure that we have a large portfolio for not only people who certainly work here, but we want to make sure public safety, city workers, and all those who work hard can't afford to live here are young adults. It's very important. One other area that I heard a lot about, youth development. Now, we don't talk about youth development a lot, but we need it. It's important because our young adults want to make sure that they're successful. And so making sure that our young adults and our children have access to mental health services, as well as programs that are limitless in employment and education, because everyone's not going to college. There will be some who will need vocational training and go out to work in other avenues of the area. And we want to make sure that our young folks stay here. That's important. Youth development and youth are important to me because I remember a time when I was in trouble, a young adult, when I was in high school. And I got in trouble. I worked for a retailer, gave some benefits to and discounts to folks that I knew, which amounted to petty larceny. And so, when that happened, I decided to pay restitution, but go forward and make sure that I make something of my life. I went to ODU, got my degree in political science, then I went to Regent and I got 2 master's degrees, one in business management and one in public administration, as well as I'm working on my doctorate in the last stage of my dissertation to get my doctorate for public administration. And so I'm well trained. And so it's important for us to make sure we support our youth when they get in trouble and be there for them and provide for them. The other area that was very important is preserving neighborhoods. And one of the things that's important with that, people want to make sure we have sustainable growth policies that address overdevelopment in our neighborhoods across the city. And we also want to make sure that as we're looking at preserving, that we're implementing those comprehensive plans that I'm sure many of you went out to those town halls to address what you wanted in your community, in your district. I was there, and I heard a lot of those concerns. And so people want to make use of sustainable communities where they can walk to different places, shopping centers. We need to address transit, ensuring that we have certainly accessible transit all over the city to help folks who are working, folks who need to get to their jobs and other places. And so I'll say to you, the last 6 years, my term, of course, is up. In 2024, December 2024, December 31st, it expires. And so I decided to run for mayor of the great city of Virginia Beach. For more information, you can go to my website, Wooten, FOR, Thank you for your support, and I'd like to earn your vote on November 5th. That's you.
Well, hey, Sabrina. Let me get one without it.
You could just hand it here, I'll take it. It's a doggone thing. Gorgeous shoes, by the way. Love a pair. Okay. First, each candidate, stand for a minute and let us give you all a round of applause. Thank you for being here, and thank you for the service that you currently do, that you have done. For the city. It's a hard job. It really is. And you're not always going to get favor from everyone, but you do a great job. And we thank you. We thank you very much. And we wish each of you the best in the upcoming election. So give them another round of applause, people.